Listen carefully, because what I am about to say will shake something deep inside your soul. In the next 2 hours, everything can change. Not tomorrow, not next week. 2 hours. There are moments in life when heaven moves silently, when God begins to shift things behind the scenes, and you don't even realize that your name has already been called in places you have never been. Right now, as you hear these words, something is aligning, something is moving, something is preparing, and if you understand this moment, you will not speak too soon. You will not move too fast. You will not destroy what God is building in secret. There are seasons when your greatest strength is silence. Not because you have nothing to say, but because what God is doing in your life is too sacred to be exposed to careless ears. You have talked too much in the past. You have shared your plans too early. You have revealed your dreams before they were protected. And people who did not understand your calling tried to speak over your destiny. But now, this is different. This is not a moment for noise. This is a moment for alignment. This is a moment where God is asking you to trust without announcing, to believe without explaining, to wait without seeking validation. Do you understand what happens in 2 hours? People think miracles take years, but they forget that when God decides to move, time collapses. What was delayed for years can be released in minutes. What was blocked for months can open in a moment. Doors that refuse to move suddenly swing wide open. Hearts that were closed suddenly soften. Opportunities that were hidden suddenly appear. And you will stand there wondering how everything changed so quickly. But it did not begin in that moment. It began when you chose to trust God in silence. Right now, there is a blessing moving toward you, but it requires discipline. It requires control. It requires a heart that is steady and not desperate for attention. You must resist the urge to tell everybody what you feel. Not every excitement must be announced. Not every sign must be shared. Some things are between you and God. Some victories must remain hidden until they are fully established, because when you speak too early, you invite doubt, you invite jealousy, you invite voices that have no authority to speak into your life. God is not working in confusion. God is working in precision. Every second, every moment, every connection is being orchestrated with purpose. And while others are distracted, while others are talking endlessly, while others are exposing everything, you must be different. You must be still. You must be grounded. You must guard what has been entrusted to you. Because what is coming is not ordinary. It is something that will change your direction. Something that will elevate your position. Something that will confirm that God has been with you all along. There are people who will not understand your silence. They will ask you why you are quiet. They will wonder why you are not sharing like before. But they do not realize that you have entered a sacred space. You have entered a place where God is speaking directly to your spirit, where clarity is being formed, where instructions are being given that cannot be diluted by outside opinions. This is not isolation. This is preparation. This is not emptiness. This is divine focus. In these 2 hours, you must guard your thoughts, because the battle is not outside. It is inside. Doubt will try to rise. Fear will whisper that nothing is changing. Your past will try to remind you of delays and disappointments. But you must not listen. You must hold your position. You must stand firm and declare within yourself that if God has spoken, then it is already done. Not maybe, not someday, done. Because faith is not waiting for evidence. Faith is standing in certainty even when everything around you looks unchanged. You have underestimated how close you are. You thought you were far away, but you are standing at the edge of something powerful. That is why the pressure increased. That is why the confusion tried to enter. That is why distractions became stronger. Because whenever God is about to release something significant, there is resistance, but resistance is not a sign to quit. It is a sign that you are near. Do not ruin this moment by speaking too soon. Words carry power. When you speak prematurely, you can weaken what God is strengthening. When you expose too early, you can delay what God is accelerating. Learn to carry your blessing quietly. Learn to walk with confidence without announcing every step. Learn to trust that what God is doing does not need validation from others. There is a shift happening right now, even if you cannot see it. Conversations are taking place that involve your name. Decisions are being made that will affect your future. Paths are being cleared that you did not even know were blocked. And you are being positioned in a way that only God could arrange. But your role is not to control it. Your role is to trust it. You must understand something deeply. Not everyone is meant to celebrate your beginning. Some people will only understand your blessing after it has already manifested. That is why silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is protection. It is alignment with God's timing, because when the blessing arrives, it will speak for itself. You will not need to explain it. You will not need to convince anyone. The evidence will be undeniable. Right now, take a moment and steady your spirit. Let go of the need to rush. Let go of the need to prove. Let go of the urge to share everything. This is a sacred window. These 2 hours are not ordinary. They are a test of your discipline, your faith, your ability to remain aligned with God, even when nothing visible has changed yet. God is watching how you handle this moment, not to judge you, but to prepare you. Because what is coming requires maturity. It requires stability. It requires a heart that is not easily shaken by opinions or emotions. If you can hold your peace now, you will be able to handle what is coming later. There are blessings that are loud, and there are blessings that are silent. This one is silent. This one is silent. It is moving quietly, deeply, powerfully, and when it arrives, it will not need noise. It will bring transformation. It will shift your perspective. It will open doors you thought were permanently closed. It will restore things you believed were lost. And it will confirm that God has been working even when you felt nothing was happening. So remain still. Remain focused. Remain connected to God. Do not scatter your energy by speaking to everyone. Do not dilute your faith by seeking reassurance from those who cannot see what God has shown you. This is your moment to stand firm, to believe deeply, to trust completely. In 2 hours, something will be different. Maybe not everything around you, but something within you will shift. A clarity will come. A peace will settle. A door will open. A message will arrive. A connection will be made. And you will know without doubt that God has moved. But until that moment comes, hold your silence like a shield. Guard your heart like a treasure. Protect your faith like it is the most valuable thing you possess, because it is. God does not forget. God does not delay without purpose. God does not prepare something small for you. What is coming carries weight. It carries impact. It carries change. And you are being called to rise to the level required to receive it. Stay ready. Stay quiet. Stay faithful. The blessing is closer than you think, and the moment it arrives, everything you endured will suddenly make sense. Do you feel that stirring within you right now? That quiet urgency, that unexplainable awareness that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life that is not your imagination, that is not coincidence, that is God awakening your spirit to recognize the nearness of what has already been set in motion. There are moments when God does not announce His plans with noise, but instead places a deep knowing inside you, a knowing that cannot be explained to others, a certainty that does not require evidence, a conviction that stands firm even when the world around you remains unchanged. You must learn to trust that inner stirring. It is not weakness to be silent when God is working. It is strength. It is discipline. It is wisdom refined through experience. Many have delayed their own elevation because they could not hold what was given to them in confidence. They spoke too quickly. They exposed too much, and they allowed the opinions of others to interfere with what God had already approved. But you are being called to a higher standard now. You are being shaped into someone who can carry weight, someone who can hold the blessing without needing applause, someone who can walk in purpose without announcing every step. God is not preparing something fragile for you. What is being formed is strong, intentional, and precise. But even the strongest structures require protection during their formation. Think of it, before anything stands tall, it must first be built in a place where it is shielded from unnecessary interference. And that is where you are right now. You are in a phase where God is building quietly, strengthening ply, aligning everything with exactness. And your responsibility is not to rush ahead of Him, but to remain in step with Him. There is a powerful truth you must understand. Not every delay is denial, and not every silence means absence. Sometimes God removes noise so you can finally hear clearly. Sometimes God slows things down so you can develop the patience required to handle what is coming. And sometimes God keeps things hidden because what He is preparing is too valuable to be exposed prematurely. If you can embrace this truth, you will stop questioning the quiet seasons and start honoring them. You have asked for greater things. You have prayed for elevation, for breakthrough, for change. But elevation requires transformation. Breakthrough requires endurance. Change requires surrender. God does not simply hand over blessings without first preparing the one who will receive them. Because if you are not ready, what was meant to lift you can overwhelm you. What was meant to bless you can confuse you. What was meant to establish you can destabilize you. That is why this moment matters. This quiet, disciplined, focused moment is shaping your capacity. There are unseen forces that try to pull your attention away from what truly matters. Distractions come in many forms: doubt, impatience, comparison, the need for validation. These are not random. They are attempts to break your focus, to weaken your trust, to push you into acting before the right time. But you must recognize them for what they are. You must stand firm and refuse to be moved. Because the moment you lose focus, you risk stepping out of alignment with what God is doing. Stay grounded, stay anchored. Do not let temporary emotions control permanent decisions. You have come too far to turn back now. You have endured too much to lose your position now. You have been prepared too intentionally to act care. Leslie, now, everything you have gone through has been building toward this moment. Every challenge, every delay, every lesson, it has all been shaping you for what is about to unfold. And here is something deeper. God is not only preparing the blessing, God is preparing you to recognize it. Because sometimes the greatest opportunities are missed, not because they were not present, but because they were not recognized. You must sharpen your awareness. You must be spiritually alert. You must be ready to move when the moment comes, without hesitation, without fear, without second guessing. There is a difference between those who receive and those who miss out. It is not always about who is more capable or more deserving. It is about who is ready. Readiness is not built in comfort. It is built in discipline. It is built in stillness. It is built in moments like this where you choose faith over fear, patience over panic, silence over panic, silence over panic, silence over panic. God sees your restraint. God sees your effort to stay aligned. Even when it is difficult, even when you feel the urge to break your silence, even when you want to explain yourself to others, you hold back because you understand that this moment is sacred. And that restraint is not going unnoticed. It is being recorded. It is being honored. It is part of your preparation. You must also release the need to be understood by everyone. Not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone will feel what you feel. Not everyone will understand why you are moving the way you are moving, and that is perfectly fine. Your journey is not for public approval. Your path is not for universal agreement. What God has placed on your life is specific, intentional, and personal. It does not need to be explained. It needs to be followed. There is a quiet confidence that begins to rise within you when you truly trust God. It is not loud. It is not arrogant. It is steady, calm, unshakable. It allows you to move forward without anxiety. It allows you to wait without frustration. It allows you to remain silent without feeling the need to prove anything. That confidence is being developed in you right now. And understand this, when the blessing arrives, it will not feel forced. It will not feel confusing. There will be a clarity, a peace, a certainty that confirms everything. You will not need to question it because it will align perfectly with what God has been building inside you. That is how you will know, not by noise, not by pressure, but by peace. Guard that peace. Do not let external voices disturb it. Do not allow negativity to enter your space. Protect your mindset. Protect your focus. Protect your connection with God, because everything flows from that connection. When you are aligned spiritually, everything else begins to align naturally. Right now, you are closer than you realize. The distance between where you are and where you are meant to be is not as great as it once was. You have moved forward. You have grown. You have been refined. And now you are standing at a point where everything can shift with one moment of alignment, one act of obedience, one step of faith. Do not underestimate the power of this moment. Do not treat it as ordinary. What you do now, how you think now, how you respond now. It all matters, because you are not just waiting for something to happen. You are participating in its preparation. You are aligning yourself with what has already been set in motion. God is not distant. God is present right here, right now, moving, shaping, preparing. And you are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be for what is about to unfold. So breathe deeply and steady your spirit. Let go of the tension. Release the fear. Silence the noise. And stand firm in your trust, because what is coming is not uncertain. It is already established. And as you remain aligned, as you stay disciplined, as you protect what has been entrusted to you, you will step into a moment that confirms everything you have been holding on to in faith. There are moments when God does His greatest work in the unseen, in the quiet spaces where no one is watching, where no applause is given, where no recognition is offered. And it is in these hidden moments that your true strength is revealed. Anyone can speak when things are clear. Anyone can celebrate when results are visible. But it takes a disciplined spirit to remain faithful when everything is still forming, when the evidence has not yet appeared, when the outcome is still wrapped in mystery. This is where you are being tested, not in your ability to act, but in your ability to trust. You must understand that what God begins in silence, He completes with power. The process may feel slow, but it is never without purpose. Every second that passes is part of a greater design. Every pause is intentional. Every delay is precise. You are not waiting without direction. You are being positioned with accuracy. And if you could see what is happening beyond your sight, you would realize that things are moving faster than you think, just not in a way that is visible to the human eye. There is a deep wisdom in restraint. It is not weakness to hold back your words. It is mastery over your impulses. When you feel the urge to speak, but you choose silence because you trust God more than your emotions, you are stepping into a higher level of discipline. You are proving that your faith is not dependent on validation, not driven by attention, not fueled by the need to be seen. Instead, your faith is anchored in something far greater. Your connection with God. Too many have lost what was meant for tea. Because they could not control the moment, they rushed ahead of timing. They allowed excitement to override wisdom. They exposed what was still developing, and in doing so, they invited confusion, interference, and unnecessary resistance. But you are being called to rise above that pattern. You are being called to move differently, to think differently, to operate with a level of awareness that separates you from the crowd. Right now, there is a sacred exchange happening. God is giving you clarity, and in return, you must give Him trust. God is giving you direction, and in return, you must give Him patience. God is preparing something for you, and in return, you must prepare yourself. This is not a passive moment. It is an active alignment. It is a moment where your inner posture determines your outer reality. There is something powerful about the way God works. He does not always reveal the full picture at once. He gives you just enough to move forward, just enough to stay focused, just enough to keep your faith alive. And that is intentional, because if you were shown everything at once, you might rely on what you see instead of trusting in Him. But when you only have a glimpse, when you only have a sense, when you only have a quiet assurance, you are forced to depend on God completely. And that dependence is where your strength is built. It is where your character is formed. It is where your faith becomes unshakable. Because when you learn to trust God without needing constant confirmation, you reach a level of stability that cannot be easily disturbed. You are no longer controlled by circumstances. You are no longer shaken by delays. You are no longer influenced by opinions. You become steady, focused, aligned. Do not underestimate the value of this transformation. What God is building inside you is just as important as what He is preparing for you. Because if your inner world is not aligned, your outer world will never remain stable. That is why this moment feels intense. That is why your thoughts feel heightened. That is why your awareness is increasing. You are being refined from the inside out. There are things you once tolerated that you can no longer accept. There are distractions that once held your attention that now feel empty. There are conversations that no longer align with where you are going. And this shift is not accidental, it is intentional. God is separating you from what no longer serves your purpose. God is elevating your standards. God is sharpening your focus. But with this elevation comes responsibility. You must guard what has been entrusted to you. Not everyone needs access to your thoughts. Not everyone needs to hear your plans. Not everyone needs to know what God is doing in your life. There is a level of protection that must be maintained, because what is valuable must be guarded until it is fully established. There is also a deeper truth you must embrace. God's timing is not influenced by human urgency. No matter how strongly you feel, no matter how ready you think you are, the moment will only come when everything is aligned. And when it comes, it will not be forced. It will not be chaotic. It will flow with a sense of order, a sense of clarity, a sense of peace that confirms its origin. Until then, you must remain steady. Do not allow impatience to create unnecessary movement. Do not allow anxiety to push you into premature action. Stay grounded in what you know. Stay connected to God. Stay disciplined in your silence. Because there is something happening right now that you cannot afford to disrupt. There are pieces being put into place, connections being aligned, outcomes being secured. And while it may look like nothing is changing on the surface, beneath it all, everything is shifting. You are not in a waiting period. You are in a preparation phase, and preparation is never wasted. Every moment you spend aligning your thoughts, strengthening your faith, controlling your words, guarding your focus, it is all contributing to what is coming. Nothing is being lost. Nothing is being overlooked. Everything is being used. And when the moment arrives, you will understand why it had to happen this way. You will see the precision. You will recognize the timing. You will realize that every delay protected you, every silence strengthened you, every challenge prepared you, and what once felt uncertain will suddenly make perfect sense. But for now, your assignment is clear. Remain faithful in the unseen. Remain disciplined in the quiet. Remain confident without evidence, because that is where true strength is revealed. That is where true faith is formed. That is where alignment with God becomes unbreakable. You are not alone in this moment. God is with you, guiding you, strengthening you, preparing you. And as long as you remain aligned, as long as you stay focused, as long as you trust without wavering, you will step into what has already been set aside for you with a certainty that cannot be shaken, with a clarity that cannot be denied, and with a peace that confirms beyond all doubt that it was God all along. Now listen, this is the moment where everything becomes real. Not later, not someday, right now. You have heard the truth, you have felt the stirring, you have recognized that something deeper is taking place within you. And now you must decide who you are going to be when you leave this moment, because hearing is not enough. Feeling is not enough. You must respond. God has not brought you this far to remain the same. God has not awakened your spirit just for you to return to distraction. There is a call on your life that requires your full attention. G, our full discipline, your full surrender. And the question is not whether God is ready. The question is whether you are ready to rise into what God is preparing. Examine your heart right now, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier. Right now, where have you been careless with your words? Where have you allowed doubt to take root? Where have you been seeking validation instead of trusting God? Be honest with yourself, because transformation begins with truth. And when you recognize what must change, do not hesitate. Release it. Let go of what weakens you. Let go of what distracts you. Let go of anything that pulls you away from alignment with God. Make a decision in this very moment that you will no longer move the same way, that you will guard your thoughts with intention, that you will speak with purpose, that you will walk with quiet confidence, knowing that what God has placed in your life does not need to be announced to be real. Choose discipline over impulse. Choose faith over fear. Choose silence when silence is required, and strength when strength is needed. This is your turning point, not defined by what others see, but defined by what shifts within you. Because when your inner world changes, everything around you begins to follow. When your trust in God becomes unshakable, no circumstance can break you. When your focus becomes clear, no distraction can control you. When your spirit becomes aligned, no delay can discourage you. Stand firm in who you are becoming. Not who you used to be, not who others expect you to be, but who God is shaping you to be. There is a strength inside you that has been growing quietly, a resilience that has been built through every challenge, a clarity that is now rising to the surface. Do not ignore it. Do not suppress it. Step into it fully. And as you step forward, carry this truth with you. God is enough, not the approval of people, not the noise of the world, not the pressure to prove anything. God is enough. When you truly understand this, everything changes. You move differently. You think differently. You live differently. Because your foundation is no longer built on unstable ground. It is anchored in something eternal. So walk with confidence, even in silence. Walk with purpose, even when others do not understand. Walk with faith, even when the path is not fully visible, because you are not walking alone. God is with you in every step, in every decision, in every moment of stillness and movement. And when the time comes, when what has been prepared begins to reveal itself, you will not need to question it. You will stand in a place of certainty, knowing that every moment of discipline, every act of trust, every choice to remain aligned, it all led you exactly where you were meant to be. Let your life reflect that trust. Let your actions reflect that faith. Let your silence reflect that wisdom. And let your heart remain fully connected to God, because in that connection is your strength, your direction, your purpose, and your peace. Now rise with intention. Guard what has been placed within you. Stay faithful in the unseen, and carry yourself in a way that shows you understand the weight of what God is doing in your life.